Hello everybody and welcome back to the Burrow. Once again we were going to be doing a DIY project. This time it's going to be making burrows. I already have two here to show you some examples of what we will be doing. This is just a plastic flower pot turned into a burrow, and this is a much smaller flower pot. Also plastic one from a dollar store turned into a burrow, dollar store flower on top. These once again are extremely cheap and help make your enclosures look a whole lot better than if I just stuck something like this inside of it. You can also make them out of, here's the two things that I used. You can make them out of much larger pots. Doesn't matter what's on them because you're not going to see. You can also make them out of these. These are the cups that most of us get our tarantulas in from expos, or even from when you buy them online. They'll come in something like this. And you have a ton of these sitting around. Why not use them? And it's very, very easy to turn this into a really nice looking burrow. So why not recycle, I guess. So let's get going and I will show you how I did these. They're a little bit different how I did this to this, and you can decide which way you want to make yours and how you want to make them. And I'll show you some other little tips and tricks that I do. Let's get started. First I'm going to start with making the smaller ones. So let's put these aside. And we're going to start with one of these. You just take a plastic flower pot. I got these from the dollar store. I think I got 4 or 5 for $1. Cut it in half, and this works perfect for slings. And what I do with these is, let's see if I have, I'll put that aside. See if my glue gun is ready. It's pretty simple. Just take your glue gun, and since you cut it, you want to make sure you put a bead around the edge so that there's no sharp, nothing sticky, nothing that's going to hurt your tarantula. So just go ahead and put a quick bead around the edge. Just like this. Make sure I get all of it. You gotta do it pretty quick because anybody's worked with hot glue knows this stuff dries a lot faster than you think. And then just stick it right in. Make sure you get something, press it on there a bit. Shake it. As you can see, that edge is kind of covered. Now the problem with working with the hot glue is that it tends to leave these strings everywhere. You have to clean them up before you're done. And then just do the same thing. Just coat the whole pot. Just go back and forth. I do a section at a time. Stop, and then it lets me press it in. By pressing it, it smears the hot glue around so it's more flat. It's not just going to give you lines. Shake it off. And keep going. And I need more up here. Just keep going. So the back. Okay, now I'm going to finish this up and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, now that I've done the whole thing, I go around and I look to see if there's anywhere that I can really need a touch up. So right there needs a little bit. So just put a little bit of glue there and press it in. See if there's anywhere else that really needs something that looks good. Now the last thing that I do is I go along this edge right here, just so that you don't see it when it's sitting in there. Careful not to let the glue fall onto your hand. It is hot glue for a reason. I press it down. Always you want to make sure you press it on. There we go. You see there's a little bit on the inside, that's fine. But the whole thing is coated. Oh, I missed one spot. So put a little bit more glue. Right there. Press it, you gotta make sure you press it in there so it gets a good firm hold. And now you have a hide. Now if you want to, like this one, you can take a flower, and that's just my dog jumping up on the couch next to me. If you want, you can take a flower, like I said, just from the dollar store, put a little hot glue on that, and press it into the dirt, and it'll stick just fine. You can take rocks if you want to give it a look, anything like that. And now I have 2 hides for slings I can put in my enclosures. Cost me a total of, like I said, the dirt costs almost nothing. The pot costs less than $1. The flower costs less than $1. So what? It's $1 for all of this. It's a fairly cheap, inexpensive way to make your enclosures look a whole lot better. Now let me go on to this other way. And I'm actually not going to do this one like I did before. I'm going to just jump up and do the much bigger one. And to do that, you need to cut it. So either you can either you can use something like this. I got this from the dollar store, just a saw. Or you can use, if you have like a Dremel tool, it'll cut really quickly through it. So I'm going to go through and do that right now. Okay, well now I have 2 halves. And once again, because I cut it with a saw and it's got a lot of burrs, I'm just going to do one of them right now. I want to go around and put a bead around the bottom just to cover that up and make sure that my animal can't really get hurt by it. I'm not particularly worried about that happening, to be honest, but better safe than sorry. Make sure that's on there good. And I said, when you got the same covering on there now, it seems pretty safe. Now it's time to put my gloves on, and we're going to start working with the silicone a bit. Couldn't find any of the blue gloves at the dollar store this time, so I'm stuck with these dishwashing ones, but they'll work just fine. Take this and start smearing. Oh, I gotta get that. There's a little bit of a dry spot on it. Get that off. Dried up overnight on me. Okay. Now just go around, you put a bead like that. We're just going to smear it around with our hands. So do about half and stop. Give you a place to hold on to. And now just take your hands and smear it around, get everywhere. Get at the edge. And like I said before, when doing this, make sure you're in a ventilated area. This is very stinky, I guess is the best way to say it. It smells horrible. Make sure you get the back. There's going to be plenty of silicone, so go ahead and coat the back up while you're holding it. And you try to keep one hand pretty clean, because one of the things I like to do is before I put it in there, you can take some rocks. Not many, but take a rock or two here or there. Oh, where do those rocks go? Put it on. Just gives it a little bit more of a texture to it. You can also use even something like these white rocks that I have here. Fortunately, I didn't open these. Take some of these out, and it'll give it a neat look to it. Okay, make sure that gets. And then I put it in and press it down just like before. But for this, I will usually pick up the dirt, set it on, and then press it down. Being one that's much bigger, and on the silicone I want to get pressed everywhere. I want the rocks to be pressed and held on. And then pick it up, shake it off. Unfortunately, a lot of times the rocks don't always want to stick right. Okay, well, that's not going to work. Now, put some more silicone on. Try not to put too much. You gotta make sure you have enough to cover everything. Now I'm going to use the clean side of my gloves to grab where the dirt was and smear this side around. Make sure it goes all the way up to the other line. All the way to the sides. It's okay if dirt gets smeared in with it right now. Obviously it's just going to be covered in dirt anyways. Try to get that front lip as much as you can. Now I'm going to grab a couple rocks again. The flatter ones work better, I think, if you can dig those out beforehand. Yeah, these round ones don't work too well. Ones with a nice flat surface usually work the best. Push them on a bit. See if I can get a white rock or two to work this time. I think these stand out. They look rather nice. Another one over there. There we go. And now, same as before, just take the dirt and pile it on. Find anywhere there's spots that stuff is missing. Put some on. Now that should cover everything. No, I still need a little bit up here. Fortunately, every time I move it, it looks like I'm pulling off some of the dirt. That's something I guess I gotta just leave it in here and let it dry without touching it too much. Well, there we go. There's a much larger hide. This will fit most of your terrestrials, 6 inches or so. And it's just a plastic pot that costs $1 or so, cut in half. They said you already have the substrate sitting around probably. The rocks I got from the dollar store, silicone. Like I said, I've already done several projects with this same tube, and it works just fine. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make one out of this. So give me a second to take my gloves off, and I need to cut this and get it shaped right. Okay, well, I cut out a section on here, get a big archway, plenty of room for a transfer to go in and hide. Actually, I may have cut it a little too big, but now you can't use hot glue on these because the heat will just melt them. So you have to stick with the silicone, same as before. You just want to put it everywhere, smear it around, put it inside of the substrate. I like to put some rocks, some of the bigger rocks on top of it, mostly just because there's no weight to this. It's very easy for the transfer just to throw it around. I mean, there's not a whole lot of weight to the pot planters, but this is a big difference. And here I make sure I get the edge a bit. Make sure it's in the screen I'm doing. Make sure it gets around that edge. Smear it around the top. So I'm trying to keep my one hand clean again, as always. Sorry, I keep moving over here because it's a little easier for me to do. There we go. Now you can probably smear pretty much all of that around. The much I put on there. Stuff does have a pretty strong smell to it, just be ready for that. Now once you get it all smeared everywhere, check out the whole top, and just press it in the dirt. It takes a little while for this to dry. It does seem to smear off. Now like I said, I want to get some weight on here. So you can grab, dollar store has these bigger rocks. I don't need a lot. I just want to put a little bit of weight, so just put a little bit of silicone here. See, just a little bit on there. I'm going to put that right on the top, somewhere in the back of it, and let it dry. And this is going to have more weight, and you can sit in there. Plenty of room for them to go under and hide. You could put some flowers in the front to make that not as big of an opening and give a little more space. And it's perfect hide. These are just something you got sitting around you probably have no use for. You've been throwing them away maybe. Might as well use them for something. I use them for this. I use them to store cricket food, stuff like that. Oops. Let's do that again. Let's put a little bit more silicone. There we go. Now I'm going to take it out and set it with the rest of these to dry. And now I have many different sizes and shapes of hides. Like I said, you can definitely add flowers for more color. You know, everybody knows watching my channel, I love color in my enclosures. Just different sizes. And you can go ahead and do even more variety. Use sphagnum moss on some of these enclosures you want some more hides. Replace sphagnum moss with the substrate. Actually, you can make the whole top just stick with sphagnum moss. I've seen people do stuff like that, and it just this little bit of effort, a little bit of money, and your enclosures look so much better. I see a lot of people using stuff like red Dixie cups, and they're just sitting in there. You can actually take the silicone, put it on a red Dixie cup, smear it around, put it in the substrate, let it dry for 24 hours, and you have a hide that you can never tell was a Dixie cup. And it costs you almost nothing to do that. Anything you've been using for a hide pretty much, you can cover in silicone in hot glue, put your substrate on it, put some rocks, some flour, and make your enclosure look so much better. Well, that's it for this DIY video. If you liked it, please leave a like and leave a comment below. Let me know if this helped you out at all. And before I go, I want to remind everybody that I do have an Instagram and a Twitter account, and I am using my Facebook page a lot more often now. I'm trying to build that up. So if you want more updates on my animals and on this channel, please follow me on one or all three of my social media accounts. And as always, thank you for watching.